My boyfriend let another girl sleep in his bed for 3 weeks.
Oh, that needs context.
I know it does, but also I feel like the red flags are already screaming at us. I was recently dating a guy in the very early days. We'd only been on 6 to 8 dates at this time. And he had a German nanny / au pair staying with him and his mates for 3 weeks to help a friend out. He has 3 female housemates. And this German girl could have stayed in any of their beds or on their massive 5-seater lounge. But instead, he let her share his queen bed with him for 3 weeks, I found out. He claimed it was purely platonic and that I had nothing to worry about. I found this really strange, though, and it made me question his intentions with both of us. When I went over to his place on our 5th or so date, he had to text her asking her not to come into his room while I was there. All of her stuff was in his ensuite and on his bedside table. I made a joke about how weird it was. He got super defensive and accused me of being insecure, saying, "This isn't going to work if you get jealous every time I talk to another girl."
What a fucking gaslighter.
What a dick. He also insisted that this was a normal thing to do to allow someone to share your bed without having sex with them. I don't think it is, but I felt almost gaslit when I questioned him. That's because you were. What are your thoughts? I know we were not technically in an exclusive relationship yet, but we'd established from the get-go that neither of us were casually dating anyone else or seeing anyone, and that we were going to be dating and looking for our life partner, quote unquote. Okay, the question in this is kind of like, what is she supposed to do with this knowledge, knowing that, like, she knows that they shared a bed for 3 weeks whilst they were dating. They weren't exclusive, but it's more the gaslighting about him telling her that this is a very normal situation.
It's not normal. It's not normal. Also, can we just circle on back to the fact that there were 3 female housemates in that house? That either she could have shared their bed.
Totally.
The girls could have shared a bed, like 2 of the housemates could have shared a bed together and she went into that. She could have slept on the lounge. You could have got her a mattress. You could have got like a blow up mattress from Kmart. It's not expensive. He is gaslighting the shit out of you. No, it's not normal. If he's telling you that it's normal to share another bed with a woman for 3 weeks just because, lie. Secondly, it's not a normal thing to do. It doesn't make it okay just because they don't have sex. And you're not going to know if they had sex. And I'm not saying that to like scare you, but at the end of the day, like, who knows what's going on in there? But it still doesn't make it okay because they're not having sex. It's not like they're childhood friends. They've been best friends for 20 years and she's come to stay and they could think of nothing worse and they're putting a pillow fort between them. This is just like probably a hot young nanny that's just come to a new country. There's no way I would be letting her share a bed with my partner. Like, it's the whole thing is absolutely ludicrous.
It's okay. Firstly, there's a couple of things I want to unpack from this. Did he already agree to this prior to you guys dating? Because obviously, like, you only been on, it's very early days, 6 to 8 dates. Like, was this already prearranged or something?
Probably agreed for her to come and stay at the house, not in my bed. Sorry, I already told her she could sleep in my bed with me.
I know, but like, I'm questioning, like, you know, where did the friendship come from? Like, is everyone in that house, did every single person in that house know that this au pair was coming, in terms of like, they all are friends with this friend, they were all doing a favor? Or was it you, like the guy that you just started seeing, who was doing a favor for someone else and had already said to his housemates, "Oh, hey, this au pair needs somewhere to stay. Do you mind if she stays in my bed?" And was that already prearranged? Because there's a few parts to this that, like, yes, it's fucking weird. We all know that. But maybe I can't believe I'm saying this.
There's no
that potentially they're not necessarily hooking up, is what I'm saying.
Laura, there's no reason she needs to be in his bed with him. There's a 5-seater lounge. He could be on the lounge and let her sleep on her own.
Yes, that's the lounge situation. Absolutely.
There is room. It's not like, hey, I said that this woman could stay in my bed with me. I couldn't possibly take myself out of this situation.
But for example, you can't just make the assumption that she would sleep in bed with someone else. So for later, and I use this as an example. When I used to live with Ness and Jess, obviously we all had, and there was like, it was a 3-bedroom house. It was 3 bedrooms. And I had a friend who was a guy come and stay with me from the UK. So platonic, like, could not have been more platonic. I met him when I was in the Philippines with big groups of friends. He was coming to Australia and I was like, dude, sleep in my house. He came, he slept on my couch, right? He did not sleep in bed with me. Fine, normal. I cleared it with them. They were fine. I'm never going to expect him to sleep in their beds. Do you know what I mean? I wasn't going to be like, "Oh, sorry, if you have a problem with him sleeping on the couch, I'm actually just started dating a guy. Can he sleep in your bed?" Do you know what I mean? Like, I was never going to do that. So what I'm saying is he may have made that offer. The housemates might have been fine with it, not knowing that he was going to meet you. That's the only caveat I have to this. But the other thing I want to say is, do you know for sure, like, do you know for absolute sure that he messaged her and said, oh, don't come home. Because that to me, if you know for sure that message was sent, then yeah, okay, she knew that you existed. There's not really like a dynamic going on between them that's potentially sexual, because, that would have just caused a whole heap more problems. He might have just told you that he messaged her that to make you feel as though that relationship was way more platonic than it was. She could have been out with girlfriends or something that night. Who fucking knows, right? So it could have been sexual. We just don't know. But the end result of this is, and where I want to leave it is not normal behavior. And him telling you that it's normal and telling you that you are overreacting for having an opinion on this is gaslighting.
No, this is the part that really sends me over the edge. This isn't going to work if you get jealous every time I talk to another girl. Sorry, you've had a girl living in your room, in your bed, and in your ensuite for 3 weeks. The gaslighting here is next level. This isn't – you didn't catch me speaking to someone when I was getting a drink at the bar and I stood with too long before I brought the drink back to you. The deflection and making this your fault, like you are overreacting, you are insecure, you are jealous. Like if you're going to do this, I can't be with you. I'm not convinced you should be with him. You're 8 dates deep and he's sleeping with another girl in his bed for 3 weeks.
And making you feel bad for having some sort of reaction to that, for feeling like, is this normal?
Like I'd be 8 dates in and then I'd be 8 dates out. I'm out. I'd be tapping out. I'd be like, you do you. If you think it's okay. Because I can't remember the quote, but I'm sure it was Esther Perel. But it's the idea of like when everything's Esther Perel. But when you start dating early, right, you're setting your boundaries as to what's okay.
Yes.
So if you are 8 dates in could be 8 weeks, could be a couple of months, could be a couple of weeks. We don't know how quickly the dates were. But
could be 2 weeks.
But 8 dates are 8 dates, right? Like I fell in love after 3 dates. If you're setting the tone and the boundaries that it is acceptable for him to do this, and he's convinced you that it has to be okay to go forward. Like he's saying that like this is normal, and if you're going to get jealous, we can't go forward. If you do go forward, that boundary's then been set.
Totally. He's allowed to have chicks sleep in his bed whenever because they're platonic. He's not fucking them.
Exactly.
And if you think that that's an issue, that's your problem. You've got the issue.
He's not letting you sleep in there so you know they're not fucking. Like who knows?
Also, did you meet this girl? That's what I want to know. I know that he texted her and you're telling us this, but did you meet her? Because I don't believe the version. I don't believe the defensiveness and the accusations that he started hurling. His response to your very reasonable, hey, this makes me feel a bit weird, is to me the part that gets very murky and strange here. And I think if you didn't meet her, if he told you that he texted her, to me it reeks of he had a chick sleeping in his bed for 3 weeks. She was here. They obviously were fucking getting it on. And he also was dating simultaneously. His housemates knew that wasn't serious because she was only here for 3 weeks. And, so they weren't going to be like, oh God, he's dating multiple people. They're just like, whatever, live your life. But he's lying to you.
He might have told her that you were just some chick he's been on one date with and it's not real. So he could have a 3-week relationship with her. Like you don't even know what he said to her, who you were, and I say that because that's what my psycho ex that had a double life used to say. He's like, oh, she's a girl that I caught up with once. I'd been with him 2 years, but that's how he played it off. You don't know what he's telling her. Like they might have, look, it might be platonic. It might not. They might have been hooking up. At the end of the day, it's not relevant to me because of the relevance here for me is the gaslighting, the way he's treating you and making you feel like it's your fault. Like for me, I'd be out of there.
Do you know what I would say? I would say that having a person of the opposite sex, if you're in a heterosexual relationship or vice versa, sleeping in your bed is not normal. If you're like having a platonic male friend sleeping in your bed is actually not the norm. I remember when I was in a relationship very long time ago, we'd been together for a really long time. We were doing long distance and he had one of his friends sleep in his bed. She'd come home from a night out. She slept in his bed. I think she slept in his bed 2 nights. I was so fucking angry. I was so angry because I was like, hey, that's a boundary that you crossed and you didn't check that with me. And he's like, but she's just my mate. And I was like, cool. Why didn't you sleep on the couch? Why did she sleep in your bed? She's also mates with everyone else in that house. You're the only one that has a girlfriend. So
and you're like, and she's hot.
So why your bed? And to be fair, I think I always had some trust issues with him because I don't think he was always transparent with me. But it really, for me, I was like, there is not ever a reason why she needs to sleep in your bed. You could have been inconvenienced for a night and slept on the couch. And so I think it's this, like we keep coming back to, this gaslighting around what isn't normal.
I mean, I do have one counter story to this. I've had straight guys, even ones that I've hooked up with in the past that, many, many, many moons beforehand, sleep in my bed and it be a completely platonic situation, nothing sexual happened, blah, blah, blah. The difference is I would never do that if I was dating someone or in a relationship with someone.
Yeah.
You know, like,
Exactly.
it's so disrespectful to that person.
100%.
Totally. Like
And-
I've slept in a bed next to a guy and it's
Of
been
course.
platonic.
But for me, it was even with someone that I had previously dated and had previously slept with.
Yeah.
But it was years and years beforehand, and we were still good friends, but we weren't romantic and we weren't going to be. And we were completely fine to sleep in the same bed, but I wasn't dating someone at the same time that I was like hiding that from. You know,
Sorry,
I think
there's-
that's the biggest issue.
Yeah, there's no girl that is sleeping in Ben's bed. Like they're just not. Except Becky, his sister. But that's it. I'll let that slide.